Today in the crypto space, we're getting a green bounce to the upside. Bitcoin right around the 85,000, up approximately 3%. Ethereum at around 1,800, up approximately 1.5%. And the rest of the crypto space, these altcoins are looking pretty good. We have Solana getting a nice bounce. We have Doge, we have Hyperliquid, TAO, Jupiter, and a few others. In today's video, I want to talk about the general market. I want to use Bitcoin as a leading indicator, but more importantly, guys, I want to talk about one altcoin, one project that is at the bottom of the range, looking for that support, and that project is called TAO. So you know what? Let's talk about the news, let's analyze the charts, and let's strategize to capitalize. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, and let's get right into it, guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome. On the channel, we talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the altcoins, looking for opportunity. Whether we go up or down, bearish or bullish, it doesn't matter. All we want to do is stay one step ahead of the market so that we can capitalize on any of the volatility. And if you appreciate the strategy, subscribe to the channel, click the bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, including the live streams at 8 p.m. EST, where we talk about crypto news and price action. Guys, if you have any projects you want me to cover here on the channel, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. You can hit me up on the socials. The links are in the description. Better yet, guys, join the Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. The best part is, it's absolutely free. All right, guys, let's begin. Let's see what's going on with this market, because ultimately it's playing a bit of games here. We can see that the total market cap is on a bit of an upturn. However, not making higher highs at the current moment. What's interesting is the trading volume is increasing, which is always a good sign of market participation, particularly when we are moving to the upside. So that's good. Maybe this little pop could turn into something great for over the weekend price action. You know, green weekends are always welcome. Of course, we celebrate all pumps and at any given time. However, we need to be prepared, right? Because usually the altcoin market or the crypto space during the weekend is not the greatest time to trade. However, guys, we have to take advantage of any volatility. This is why even, buying into spot bags is not a bad idea, because you can still benefit from the upturn if we do get a green weekend. However, guys, like I said, be careful. The weekends are tough. Order books are thin. Things get a little bit hectic out there. It's better to touch grass, take some time for yourself, invest in yourself, and then come back fresh as the market opens next week. All right, guys, let's continue. Let's scrape through the top 100. And as per usual, I will take a look at the Bitcoin chart just to use it as a leading indicator to see exactly what's happening with Bitcoin. If Bitcoin is showing us strength, we could see altcoins show a little bit of strength. If Bitcoin is showing us weakness, maybe we see altcoins fall down even further. Unfortunately, a lot of them are bear market bottoms at horizontal levels, and that brings up the project for today. We're talking about TAO. TAO is a really, really strong project. Of course, we've been talking about TAO really early here on this channel. We got early positions in TAO. However, at the end of the day, this retracement's pretty deep for TAO, such a bullish project. And then the bigger and more important question is, do we start buying? Do we start accumulating? And of course, we'll talk about that on the charts in a second. Let's scrape through the top 100 here just to get an idea of what the general market looks like. As you can see in the last 24 hours, we have been getting a bit of green. In fact, the majority of this green is coming in hot right into the last couple hours of the trading day, and you can see that this is actually looking pretty good. We're going to see a market close. We're going to see some green, a little bit of percentages to the upside. What's more important is the market structure, though. The 1 hour structure is not really breaking out, so we're kind of going sideways. We're planking, guys. It's not like we're breaking out and expanding or anything like that. We're just within range and not the top of the range or pushing to the top of the range, which is always welcome. Obviously, anything. Look at Hyperliquid up 6.4%, but really, what did it do today? Not much. If you think about it on the 1 hour time frame, not much. So we have to be really clear and really honest about what we are really looking at. And to be honest, the altcoins are not really doing much. And this is why I really do consider altcoins a very risky scenario. So what I do is, and what I am doing is DCing. I am DCing into the larger caps. I'm looking at large cap altcoins. Of course, Hyperliquid fits the bill, and many others over here. Look, Sui is looking pretty good. Chainlink is a good one. Cardano's a good one. If you're into Cardano, if you're into Solana, could be a good one. Solana is bouncing pretty hard in comparison to the rest of them. It could be that, Solana is the comeback kid. We've already seen Solana make a fat comeback in this market Could do it again. It could do it again, despite what people are yapping about. Doesn't matter. It could do it again. So we have to be prepared that it's very possible. We have a lot of these altcoins, Pi coming down, but Pi, rose up pretty hard. It's down 71% in the last 30 days, guys. That's a fire sale, double-digit dip. Of course, are we going to get it to triple digits? Maybe, you never know. But we do see a lot of good opportunities if you look at the last 30 days, despite what is happening today with this bit of green. But there's still a lot of opportunity in this market. Look at Ondo, it's down 26%, even though we're up almost 4% today. It doesn't matter. Look at the structure. It's still sideways. There's lots of opportunity here, guys. Okay, so, it's very important that we celebrate these pumps, no doubt. But it's also very important to be realistic about what these pumps represent, and they don't represent much based on the chart. All right, guys, so let's get right into some charts, guys. I know you're here to talk about price action, so let's begin. Let's see what's going on here with Bitcoin. Bitcoin, at the end of the day, is still in its downtrend on the daily. Now, does that mean that we continue coming down to the abyss? Absolutely not. We could definitely get some support here. And of course, I am tracking this level day in and day out, trying to figure out whether the retracement to the downside is done, and we are looking for a reversal to the upside. Let's take a look at this in a little bit more detail. As per usual, guys, it's very important that we try to stay one step ahead. And the only thing that I can say is be careful with front running. Obviously, staying one step ahead means that you're going to be front running a little bit, but ultimately, it doesn't mean that you have to execute. What we want to do is watch these markets and stay one step ahead and speculate on what could happen. And based on those possibilities, you can arrange a plan that, integrates all those possibilities. Now, the possibilities are obviously up, down, and sideways, but let's talk about that more. At the end of the day, if we can stay above this thicker white line, which is at about 81,000 more or less, 81,200, that would be great. If we can stay right above this level, guys, we're still very possible for a reversal here. In fact, if we can break above this top, we are getting really interesting, right? Because ultimately this is starting to look like potentially a reversal level, right? We can start completely reversing and getting that change of character that I'm really looking for. A higher low, and then we confirm a higher high if we close a daily handle above this previous top. That's essentially what we are looking for. However, no guarantees. Why? Because if you look at it, this legacy trend line coming from the top, we already hunted the trendline liquidity right into here, which is, expected and fine. And horizontally, we got rejected, and that's totally fine as well and understood. But we're still playing this game here. And if we continue at this level, we could also break down. And of course, you're going to probably say, but Mike, you're telling me that it can go up or down. Yeah, of course I am. But the conditions are important. The conditions that need to be seen and basically be met in order to respond accordingly is very important. Guys, if we break below this horizontal, again, right around 81,200, things start to look ugly. And then there's things that you can do. Either you get short, either you exit your positions if you have any open, or you wait to see if this was a failed breakdown and we get back above, and you're taking a little bit of risk on this because we could also get rejected and come down for lower lows and come down to basically to the bottoms. And then we're continuing the trend, as you can see, lower lows and lower highs. So this moment right now in this market is critical. This is a trading moment, because we could definitely get a change of character here where we start breaking this top, moving to the upside, maybe getting a pullback and going up for another high, breaking this top and moving to the upside, where we start to look at this as a pivot point structure, a change of character, a rounded bottom, a reversal, whatever you want to call it. It looks bullish, right? But then again, there's a lot of negativity out there still, even from the macro conditions of our TradFi economy. We have to understand that. So let's consider what's going on with oscillators here real quick. We'll jump to the 4-hour, and then we'll take a look at TAO. So I still see that momentum's in an uptrend. What I do appreciate at the current moment is that because the momentum is in an uptrend and volatility is down here, like I do expect maybe some sort of bouncy bounce right here with regards to volatility. But volatility getting overbought, as it has done before, means that we're going to go for another bullish attempt. And does this bullish attempt exist over the weekend? Or is the weekend going to give us this opportunity, like it happened here, for a little bit of a double bottom and then a Monday response to the upside where we get overbought, and then, like I said, maybe something like this when we start moving upwards and we start changing character, looking for higher highs and higher lows? Guys, I want that change of direction, but I'm not willing to take too much chances here on the daily time frame. I want to show you another indication here that things are looking interesting, because that duck face is starting to look like something else. It looks pretty angry. As you can see, we got a bit of a fake out out here. The duck face usually comes in when we start getting the cross on the EMAs right here in the trending, in the uptrend, and then it fakes us out. It opens up again and opens up again, and look, we got some green histogram bars neutralizing negativity. We got an expansion to the downside that at this rate might even close that size and maybe get a reversal here and get bullish again, which at the end of the day, we see these EMAs trying to get to the bullish control zone, which is what we want to see eventually. So there's a lot of good things happening here, no doubt. However, not a lot of confirmations yet on the daily. And I wait for confirmations because, again, risk is public enemy number one for a trader. You want to make sure that you get in at a great risk to reward ratio where you can defend yourself. And if you start looking at lower time frames, this whole story makes a lot more sense. And I'm looking at this level's absolutely perfect. This double bottom scenario right here is great. We could hunt liquidity down here. I know there's stop losses there that to be had. Market makers are going to have fun with those stop losses if we come down and sweep those lows and get people hunted, right? That's very possible. But then what's also very possible, we get that bounce, back test in spring, and start trending to the upside again. And if you look at it, we got the V recovery. Maybe we get the nice rounded bottom. Maybe we start breaking this top and things start looking great. Guys, this is a really interesting scenario for a change of character at this zone. Okay, again, oscillators, we're looking at trending price action to the upside. This Uno reverse shows me a little bit of strength from the bulls, ultimately looking to get back overbought again without getting super oversold, which means that that's pretty strong for from a bullish perspective. And you can see again, you know, that duck face opening up, and there's you know, on the 6 hour EMA is facing up, green histogram bars to the upside, and the 4 hour doing a very similar thing here, trying to hold support right around this level. EMA cross, get into the bullish control zone, let's get going, right? So there's a lot of good confluence across a lot of these charts on the daily for a bullish thesis, but we have to maintain this identity, this idea. The idea is that, again, on the daily, there's not much confirmations of a reversal. However, there is a downtrend to the downside still. So what do we do here, guys? We trade on lower time frames. We be ninjas. We get in and we get out until we get confirmations on the daily where we feel a little bit more confident in holding bigger positions or riskier positions. We get in and get out. Another thing that you can do is just understand that your invalidation is right here at the yellow line, at the thick white line. You can get into a position and put your invalidation there. If we break below, stop yourself out and wait to see what happens. We could get a bit of a reaction slightly lower, 80,100, just right around here, and that's also very possible. Don't get, you know, stop hunted. But ultimately, guys, this is a battlefield right now. This is the opportunity that you should be looking at in order to see a reversal if we get that reversal. Again, it's all about probability, no guarantees, none of that. All right, guys, let's jump right into the TAO chart. Assuming that we keep this in mind, what is going to happen to TAO? Now, again, Bitcoin showing weakness. The trend is still your friend. Obviously, TAO is still in a downtrend equal to what Bitcoin is showing us. Clear downtrend. Lower lows and lower highs. However, Bitcoin is currently battling to create that change of character. I don't see Bittensor doing the same thing. However, Bittensor TAO as an altcoin has been bleeding out. You can see the Bitcoin dominance and all of that, and even the total has been bleeding out against Bitcoin. And of course, its posture, its stance is going to be a little bearish, more bearish than Bitcoin is. But what I do like about Bittensor at the current moment is that it's at horizontal support, a very psychological, important horizontal support. We got this bottom, we got these bottoms right into here, all these bottoms is this bottom right here, and we also have, of course, our current scenario where I'm expecting some divergence right here, and we have a volume gap representing weakness. And what I'm going to say by that is that this level could get defended and ultimately see a reaction at this level. If it does not, it's likely that we fall right through. And I want to note that there's a level right here, right into this zone that could cause that reversal, right into here in this impulse to the upside. Okay, this is where people got to read up on their positions on longs, and these positions could be protected. So obviously, even if we fall down here, we could get that support right into here. What will give me that indication of support? A change of character. I want a structure that suggests that the bears are weak. And at this current moment here on the daily, there's no real major indication that the bears are weak. However, this is the moment where it could show up. It showed up here, right? We got a higher low, then we broke the tops for a higher high. That's a change of character. We started changing character after a nice consolidation. In fact, it does look like an inverse head and shoulder here with the sweep of the lows. We even got the stop hunt right here clear, back above, back test in spring. Beautiful price action. And then once it gets above the 200 daily EMA, that's another good confluent indicator that we could be in an uptrend. And we held that uptrend right to the previous high. So guess what, guys? This is possibly another opportunity, right? You're not buying tops. You're not exit liquidity. You're buying a bottom. The only problem is that you're not buying a structure. You're trying to catch a falling knife. And some may argue that you're not trying to catch a falling knife because you're at least buying horizontal support levels based on historical price action. So I get it. So what I would do is increase my position size as you build confirmations. Keep it in mind that that volume gap below can still present a continuation to the downside that could bring us down to about $100. Guys, at $100, I'm spamming buy orders. I'm just letting you know, I'm buying right now. I bought some right into here. And just keep in mind, my entries are all the way at $40. And I have the videos to prove it on the channel. This is where we started piling it in pretty hard. And then at this level, this is where I started to de-risk. And then I stopped making videos. There's no more videos from me because we can't FOMO in on these tops. Now it's time to start looking in for offensive positions. We want to get offensive and start getting aggressive into the market by deploying capital, of course, slow and steadily, but offensive rather than defense. This is what the times to get defensive on your gains. This is the time to start looking for opportunities. Now, this could have been a great opportunity. No structure, no change of character, nothing. I'm saying that this current moment could be another opportunity as long as we start to get indications of structure and opportunity. So far, all we have is this and horizontal. We'll take a look at the oscillators in a second, but before I get into that, what I want to show you is what I'm really looking for. I want to see us break above this high, and of course, the lower time frames are going to give you a lot better information. Let me just quickly rearrange this. You can see that I want to break above this high. I like this bottom, and I'm curious about what this bottom represents. Okay, I see a lot of I see wicks impulsive move to the upside. I see this price action coming back to this level. I can potentially see a rejection here, of course, and then coming back down to this level, and then maybe coming back up and then breaking out and giving us a nice structure. What would be more important to me is to see a bullish divergence right here. And once we start breaking this top, even if we create another top here, this would equate to a nice structure that is looking for a change in direction. Lower lows in the price action, and as soon as we break this, not only do we make a higher low, but for sure we would make a higher high and then come down confirmed higher low, and then the trend is your friend. And these rounded bottoms is what I look for in order to get reversals. Very similar to what happened here. We came down, we got the higher low, but did we make the higher high? No, we did not. Right? So we got rejected and sweep down. Now what we have to do is make sure that this doesn't happen again to us. So we get a good entry, and then all of a sudden when we hit resistance, we get defensive, right? We trail up a stop loss just in case we get rejected. But if we continue moving out to break above the previous high, like we didn't here, just keep that in mind, then we start going for an extension upwards. And then we start to confirm a change of direction, which means that the next impulsive move down is likely not going to come down for a lower low. And in fact, it produces a higher low. We start confirming a change of direction of the trend. So what we have to look at is what is really happening on the daily, what could happen also on the 4-hour time frame, because the 4-hour time frame is going to allow us to kind of get into this price action with a little bit more detail. Okay, so as of now, we're not even looking at oscillators. Pure market structure, pure price action. And for me, that's very important, especially if we are in oversold conditions. And we'll take a look at that in a second. So as you can see, look, I want to see this structure to change. No more lower lows and lower highs. I want a clue that we're making a higher high or a higher low. Until then, guys, we have to be patient because we're still in a downtrend, but at good levels of horizontal support. Now, if we start looking at the oscillators, again, I want to go back to the daily because I think the daily is going to give us a better edge than even the 4-hour at the current moment, because the daily still seems in control. And what I like about the daily is that we finally got oversold. Okay, so oversold conditions is a great time to start considering a bounce, similar to what happened here. We got oversold and we got that bounce. The expansion wasn't even that hard, guys, compared to this one. and the price is at the same level. If you look at the price where we got that severe expansion downwards, you can see that the price is at the same level, but the expansion is weaker. That's a sign of weakness for the bears. The bears, even though the price came down harder, their effort was not there equally as hard. So which means that the bears are slowly losing a bit of their strength. Even if you look at the local price action at this double bottom, this bottom is at pretty much, or even lower, if you want to be, precise about it, than the previous bottom. And you can see that not only is the expansion smaller, but so is the momentum. So that means that there's class A bullish divergence on these two bottoms anyway, which is great. And you can see even on the expansions here on the trend oscillator, this expansion is smaller than this one so far. Remember, these indicators are lagging, so they'll take some time to catch up to the price action. But guys, this is how we stay one step ahead. Another thing that keeps me interested is the fact that we are right now oversold on volatility, while momentum could be looking for a change of direction to the upside after going from overbought all the way down to oversold, hanging out here, and now maybe going overbought. And then in this case, every time the volatility line comes down to oversold conditions, we need to long. We need to long in the same direction of momentum. And if that happens, where our volatility put impulses, our bullish responses become stronger than the bearish responses, guys, you know what that is gonna look like on the chart? Well, it's gonna start to make higher highs. And that's what we want to see. We want to see a bullish response that is so strong that ultimately it breaks above this, and that would be great. Or let's be more modest about it, an impulsive move that does that, doesn't break the high, that's fine, let's get it rejected. Then the bearish response come in. If the bearish response is not as strong as the previous, we should technically make a higher low. But then when the bullish response comes in, I want to see a higher high, right? Because then that's evidence that the bulls are now taking control and the bears are losing their strength. And this gives us that change of character that I'm talking about, where we start to produce higher highs and higher lows. Guys, you have to be prepared for change of character and a break of structure and what the difference is. At this current moment, I see a lot of potential change of character within a lot of the altcoins, and especially when you start to see horizontal support levels like TAO is at the current moment. This presents a lot of opportunity, tons of opportunity, okay, guys? So keep this in mind. There's a bullish scenario, obviously, holding above this zone. But if we break below, guys, it's very likely that we come down to about $92, maybe $100. Nice psychological round number to test these tops and see what goes on in that direction. Now, obviously, guys, nobody has a crystal ball to tell you the future, but at least you can come up with a game plan as to how you're going to handle this market if that happens. But ultimately, for me, it's all about spot buys. Spot buys at the current moment are great because you can buy in, DCA, accumulate within this area, wherever it lands. And ultimately, when we get back to the previous highs, you won't care which exact level you bought. Even if you bought in right now and eventually you have to hold a little bit of negative, it's all good, because eventually when we get back up here, you'll be up 200% and then some if you start breaking out to much higher levels. Guys, this is how you prepare for both bearish and bullish case scenarios. And if I've offered you any value in this video, do the channel a massive favor, slap the like button. It does really help out with the algorithm. If you want to follow me on the socials, the links are in the description below. Feel free to join that Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. The best part is it's absolutely free. Guys, see you tonight at 8 p.m. EST, where we talk about crypto news and price action. Have a good one, and don't forget, buy the dip.